What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at Lucky 13 Saloon, and today we are here with one of Lucky 13's own. We are here with James Ryder of Ryder. It is great to be able to talk with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Finally.
Yeah, right? We finally made it happen. It's funny because Ryder started doing stuff around the time Heavy New York started doing stuff, so we sort of like rose from the ashes together in a way.
We did. We
Yeah.
did. We were in the trenches together, and I'm glad to see all your success, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Same to you, man. I'm happy to see you guys are still killing it, and guys are constant road dogs and living, constantly killing it. I remember the first time I saw you, it was on Super Bowl Sunday at the Bowery Electric.
Bowery Electric, yep.
Yep, which was a hell of a time. I think maybe, I think Lady Gaga's Super Bowl performance kind of, overtook it a little bit, but we had a good intimate show.
Yeah, we did. We did. I remember that show very, very vividly. It was, I think halfway through the set, I'm just like, does anyone know the score? Are the Giants winning?
Right? So that was a good time. But it's so awesome to have you here. Ryder Live. This is absolutely a kick-ass live album. And, very, very, it's so good to finally hear this stuff, on a regular basis. What was the sort of thought process behind the making of it? I think this could maybe go back to even the formation of the band, too. But, was there, a preconceived vision that you wanted behind this album?
Well, the funny thing is around February, we were approaching the 5-year anniversary of For What It's Worth, which was our first recorded release that we put out. And it was the 5-year anniversary. That was a 5-song live EP that was recorded at Blackthorn. And we were like, all right, well, let's do something. We already have a date booked here. Alexi, who is a sound person here, who was on For What It's Worth, engineered it and did that, who also works here. We're like, okay, let's do a follow-up. But instead of doing a 5-song EP, let's do a full record. So we came here, and it was recorded December 17th of last year. Came here, did a 12-song set, and then, during the mixing process and just getting everything ready for the album portion of it, we were like, let's make it a little special. Because, releasing 12 songs, live stuff, it's like, all right, it's a live recording. I'm a big fan of live albums, and on a lot of live albums, you always have that special bonus track, like an acoustic version or a recorded version. So, and we were messing around with a version of Lillin's acoustic, so we started tinkering with it. We went back to it. We touched it up.
And you brought out Earl from Seven Sons on that?
Earl, and big shout out to Will Berger for getting me in contact with Earl. I owe you a coffee, maybe a dinner. Because I asked him, I said, do you know a violin player? He's like, dude, I got the perfect guy. He gave me Earl's number, and literally within 20 minutes he listened to the track. He's like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, no, Earl's a genius.
Yeah.
He could record violin. If you could do an orchestral cover of Dillinger Escape Plan, you could pretty much record violin to anything.
Absolutely.
Yep. Now, I mean, Ryder has come such a long way, and I'm honored to have I could say that I've seen Ryder back in the very early days when they were first a thing. It's definitely a badge of honor for me. But people who have heard Lillian's Lullaby and people who have heard all the stuff from back in the day, is there a good representation of what Ryder is going to sound like in the direction you're going to take in the future, or is there going to be more experimental sides of Ryder in the future when you record and continue to make new music?
I think there's always going to be some experimental stuff where we're constantly evolving, we're constantly writing. I mean, that's the whole part of being a musician, right? I mean, you're just constantly evolving. I think if you stay stagnant in one place, it's after a while it just kind of becomes rinse repeat.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Of course. And, with songs like Do or Die or When It All Comes Down, those always have, the groove aspects behind it. But with a ballad like Don't Lose Your Heart, which is not on here, but I had to bring that. I wanted to bring that up, too.
Oh,
but,
my God.
it seems like you're able to kind of experiment with different emotions in each song and bring in different vibes to each song, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, each song, it's inspired by life experiences, too. I mean, each song is its own representation, whether it's my life, whether it's, something else, whether it's something we experienced on the road. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, but yeah, Don't Lose Your Heart. One of these days, I'm telling, we're going to bring that back for you. Like, you
Please.
come to a show, we will play it for you.
Okay, please.
All right, I'll tell Billy, I'll tell Andrew, I'll even tell Eric. He doesn't even know the song yet. I'm sure he'll learn it. So
Please, please. But with the formation of Ryder too, because I've known you and Andrew, for example. You know, Andrew played in Reluctant Mortem, a freaking death metal band. You've had your history in being in rock bands, and you know every musician that has come and gone from Ryder has always had their own like backgrounds in music as well. So that definitely had to help always bring new tricks and twists to the table, right?
yeah, it does. I mean, you know, we work with some good people, and you know, it's like I said, you know, the band evolves. You know, some things stay the same, some things change, and you know, we just roll with the punches.
You mentioned like, you know, songs come from life and life experiences, and they also come from you know, experiences on the road. Some people like to use music as a means as very autobiographical,
Yes.
and some people tend to, you know, maybe use music as an escapism. Do you kind of tend to do both in a way, or does life experiences tend to ultimately be like the best sources of inspiration?
A little bit of both. I mean, it depends. Usually my process is like I'll listen to a riff. If we get like a demo together, like I'll listen to it. Like I always try to pick the vibe of the song. I mean, everyone has a different process. Some people write the lyrics first. Some people, you know, write the music first. I'm one of the people that writes the music first, and then lyric wise, it's like, all right, what's the vibe from the instrumentation? And then I just kind of pick from there, like what hits me. Like when I listen to it, is it going to be, you know, hey, let's write this, you know, let's write this about, you know, a personal experience of mine, whether it be my family or whatever, or you know, hey, this is a fun raunchy song. Let's write it about, you know, some truck stop in you know, Tupelo, Mississippi. I mean,
Well, and I mean, this is like a very like this is almost kind of like a very brain picky question, because in the end, your music is down and dirty rock and roll. I feel like the music is like the type of music, and I mean it as a compliment, where there's no strings attached, no over analyzation needed. But why do you feel that the style of, you know, bringing back a classic rock sound has always been sort of like the best style of music to express your personal experiences?
it just feels right, man. You know, I don't really know if there's like any real way to describe it. It's just, you know, it's the way that I feel comfortable communicating, you know, myself with what's in here. So
Does that inspiration come out of nowhere for you, or do you believe or is inspiration something that you tend to seek out? Do you almost look for it?
I mean, I got Milner, low key, and so I'm a fairly agnostic person. You know, I do think, you know, I respect everything. You know, if you believe in it, as long as you're not hurting other people, that's kind of where I draw the line. But you know, I feel I have a personal belief of respecting everything, and you know, spirituality. Yes, you know, sometimes it comes from out of nowhere. Sometimes maybe it might be divine intervention. You know, maybe huffing the white sage a little too much. I mean, you know.
Huffing the White Sage. That's a good song title right there.
Yeah.
You know, I think you should, you know, keep that in your back pocket in a way. Keep that in your, and divine intervention. For a second, I thought you were mentioning the Slayer album. But,
That's a good record.
yeah, I mean, to each their own. But the guys in Slayer don't really like that record very much. Fun little fact. But again, to each their own, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But what is like your sort of inspiration that kind of brought you into the world of rock and heavy metal? Was there like a pinnacle moment in a way where you decided to pick up the guitar and being like, this is how I'm going to express myself?
Yes, it was. Growing up, I was a huge wrestling fan.
Okay.
I was a huge wrestling fan, and I believe it was WrestleMania 17, Motorhead playing Triple H to the ring, and watching Lemmy and watching that for the first time. It was like, shit, I want to do that. So it's funny, a bass player gets me to want to pick up guitar, you know, and then I just, you know, that was like the first point, and then I just went down the rabbit hole, and I discovered, you know, other styles, Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, you know, Randy Rhoads, Zakk Wylde, George Lynch. I mean, the list can go on and on.
Yeah, you have a very impressive source of inspiration right
Yeah.
there. And, you know, I always ask people who sing and play an instrument, whether it be singing and playing the drums, guitar, bass, etc. Does having a voice but also having an instrument, do they express different sides of who James personally is in a way, or being that, you know, it's all coming from you at the same time, they fairly express the same emotion?
I think it expresses about the same emotion. I mean, how I am on stage, I mean, it's just basically me turned up to 10. You know, yeah, with a little less fucks, and you know,
yeah, fair enough.
You know, I try to keep wrangle my language a little bit, you know, while I'm off stage. But you know, when I get on stage, you know, it's not a family friendly show.
Yeah, well, that's rock and roll, right?
So, I actually fun thing. I actually have one story with that.
Please. I like stories.
Huntington Fall Fest.
Okay.
We were playing, and a friend of mine who used to own the Crooked Rail out in, I think, Smithtown. So she hits me up. She was booking the stage, and she's like, all right, you know, this is going to be, you know, like, I asked, what type of show is it? Oh, yeah, you know, it's going to be a regular rock and roll show, you know, do your thing. I'm like, all right, you sure? There's no restrictions. There's no nothing. I'm like, she's like, yeah, go for it. Your funeral. All right. So we go to Heckscher Park, and we set up, and we're sitting there, and now I could have read the room a little bit better. I will say that.
I'm already loving this story.
So we're playing the set, and I drop a few F-bombs, and, you know, some of the parents, you know, it's weird because when the parents are just like,
kids' ears.
And the kids are like, yeah, you know, like the kids were loving it. They're just like, oh my God, this is great. And the parents are just like, get them off you know, but anyway, so we do a cover of the Super Suckers' Pretty Fucked Up. It gets to that point in the set. All right, we're going to play the song. Against my better judgment at the time, we play the song, and it was amazing. The town clerk of Huntington was so angry. He's this little portly Alfred Hitchcocky looking gentleman, and he is running towards the sound booth like, cut them off. And you have these kids in the front row, like they're literally like 7 to like 10-year-olds, like hula hooping, and just like, you know, seeing them like pretty fucked up, you know, like doing the whole thing. And the town clerk is going, and he trips over a hula hoop and lands face first in the mud. Getting there, and that is the first and probably last time we'll be playing the Huntington Fall Festival.
That is, you know what? What a way to go out. That sounds like something out of a movie. That's
dude, it was like I found out about it afterwards because I see this dude and he's just like dripping in mud, and I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Hey, more importantly, did you get the gear out safely?
Yes, we did.
Okay, then
we did.
As long as that happens, they didn't set your gear on fire.
We did.
When it comes to a band, you know, I think one thing that defines the sound of a band is the camaraderie and the collaborative efforts. But when it comes to writing the music together, do you and Andrew and everybody kind of like need to be on the same page all the time, or could maybe having different opinions or having different emotions maybe actually help enhance, like add contrast to the material? And
it totally enhances it. I mean, if we were all on the same page at the same time, all our music would sound very uniform and very generic. I mean, everyone has their own influences. The way that we write is we take a source, whether it be a riff or anything else, and then we all, like, you know, one of us starts building, and then we show it, and then we just kind of tweak it from there. So, you know, maybe Andrew will sit there and be like, hey, you know what, like, maybe, you know, loosen up on this part of the riff, or like maybe Billy will be like, all right, maybe change your picking rhythm up a little bit so that this flows better. So it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. I mean, you guys are very tight live, so I could tell that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that you practice a lot as well. So.
Oh yeah, practicing, and also shout out to Anthony Esposito. We worked with him on the few records. He is somebody who, when we first started recording, like literally took us and was like, you know, in verbatim words, you play like shit, but I'm going to teach you how to play good. And he taught us how to play in pocket, and it just, ever since then, it's just like knowing those intricacies, and it just so big shout out to him.
All these sayings that you're saying sound like good song ideas. Like, you play like shit, but I'm gonna play you good. That's like the dialogue intro before entering a song. Against my better judgment, I think is what you should name a song about playing that festival.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, against my better judgment. Oh, that could apply to a few things.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, again, keep that in your back pocket. And I have 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
But one of them is about playing live, actually. When you're not having parents being pissed at you, but like, is there a similar energy that you channel into your live presence as you do when you are songwriting? Is there anything that ties those 2 arts together, or do you consider them like completely separate mind games altogether?
The similarity between both of them is you're playing the same songs, but the biggest there's a similarity and a difference. You're playing the same songs, but the difference is in a studio you're playing the song, live you're performing the song, because it's you have this whole element of the live audience. That's what kind of changes the game. You could sit there and you can pop a song onto a CD player or Bluetooth. They don't make CD players anymore, but I just dated myself. But you could pop on a song and like listen to it. It's like you get that vibe, and then when you're actually watching a band live and looking at like. All your other senses just come, like you see them actually performing, emoting, feeling the emotion coming from them. You're hearing the music, you're feeling the music. You can, just the sweat coming from someone's eye, like this interactive experience of just being live. So yeah, studio you play the music, live you perform the music.
Is stage presence or like crowd interaction or any of that, like, is that something that you could rehearse, or does that just get, as you play more and more shows, it kind of just naturally comes?
You can plan for it, but bullet point. It's a lot of it you kind of have to call it on the fly. If you're playing a show and the crowd is like really really like into it and like really going, it's like, all right, know your pacing. Just let them have their moments and let it breathe a little bit. You don't have to be whatever. If the crowd's kind of a little mellow, it's like, all right, you got to work harder to get them going.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, I would say if you are going to rehearse it, bullet points. Bullet point. Don't plan it to a T. If you have a script, it's not going to work out well for you.
I would love to see bands have like a teleprompter in a way, like a politician does.
God.
And the final question I wanted to ask you is my nickname for you lately has been the Tommy Victor of Lucky 13. The way that Tommy Victor of Prong was the sound guy at CBGB's. I see you working here at Lucky's,
Yes.
Every Saturday, and I don't know what other day. Whenever there's a show happening, I'm expecting
Most
to see,
shows, yeah.
I mean, has sort of being involved in the scene, behind the scenes and behind the stage as much as being on stage, has that also been a source of inspiration for you, or just interacting in the New York City scene in general?
Oh yeah, it's totally changed a lot of stuff. When Ryder first started out, and I will say this in front of you, in front of the audience, we weren't. We were kind of islands unto ourselves a little bit. We didn't really participate too much in the scene, and whether it was being young, dumb, and full of cum and ego or whatever, it just we didn't really do that. I had a very big chip on my shoulder, and it fucked me out of like experiencing a lot of things. And as you grow older and this has been an opportunity to like really partake and like actually listen to other people, see who's coming through other rock bands, and just like having genuine conversations with them and doing that. So yeah, no, this is really, it's awesome. I love talking shop with people. Maybe some people might not like my opinion too much. I am honest.
Well,
so it's,
people don't like honesty.
So I mean, I'm respectful about it, but there have been a few times I've said to people like, hey, maybe rethink that banter a little bit. Maybe talking about horse cocks and read the room.
Were they grindcore?
No, I don't even know how to describe them, but
Well,
I'm just paraphrasing an example. But
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. We just got this Ryder Live album. I also know that you got some additional products.
Yes.
Bands mainly have beer to go along with their style, but you got like some aftershave stuff.
I get to be a promo whore. So this is Hard Time beard oil. So get a little get a little close to that. So live record beard oil. So Hard Time beard oil. So it is a hemp infused oil for your, not just for your beard. It can also be used as an aftershave. We work with a company called Hemp Wizard Beard and Company based in Florida. Mike Wiseman is one of the founders. Awesome dude. Basically, we started talking, and he liked my facial hair, and he's like, hey, let's do a scent. So this in itself, it's called Hard Time. You can buy it off of their website. The smell is sandalwood, sweet tobacco, leather, and one other thing that I'm forgetting, but it's very bourbon.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's very, here, if you want to give it a whiff,
I get the preview.
give a whiff.
Ooh, that does smell very nice.
Yeah. So it's a very, like, I know some people have reviewed it. They're just like, oh, it smells like a frat party, and I'm just like,
well, I mean, hey, they probably mean that as a compliment, especially if they're referring to Animal House. So, yeah. Great movie.
But yes, Hemp Wizard Beard and Company, Hard Time, check them out. Yeah, they got other great products. So.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Ryder, be sure to check out the beard oil and check out Ryder Live. We will see you next time on Heavy New York.